Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to continue on with my South Korean mini-series. I'm still filming for you here in Jeju, the little lovely island off the southwest coast of South Korea, and it's really nice here. I do recommend you come and visit it, and the Koreans are very kind, but it's a little bit chaotic to drive around here, I'll say that about it. But for this review we're going to return it to Magpie Brewing Company, one of the local breweries here in Jeju, and probably one of the more recognisable craft beer names in South Korea, in fact. And we're having a look at one of their summer releases. So this one is called the Summer Summit Hopfenweisse. It comes in at 6% ABV, and it should be really nice. The thing that attracted me to this style, or this particular beer, was that it's a style you don't see too many of. I think I've only reviewed 2 or 3 Hopfenweisse beers in the last 2 or 3 years actually. So I'm really curious to see how this one turns out, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. A special shout out as well to Josie at Josie's Bottle Shop, or Guillaume Beer Shop as it's called, which is next to Hop J Beach. I really recommend you check that out. You can check out my shop visit video that I did for her as well, and I'll put her Facebook page in the description below. She's the biggest toll dealer in the whole of South Korea, so that's one reason alone to visit her shop. But she's got a great selection of stuff from America and other places around the world as well, so do make sure that you check her out. But anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Magpie Brewing Company before. Hopefully I can add some more in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for the South Korean beers that I'm reviewing for you just now, and hopefully I can continue to add to that over the coming years. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, on to my brewery notes then, to tell you a little bit about Magpie Brewing once again. So Magpie Brewing Company were founded back in 2011, and they were originally based in Seoul, and the 4 people behind the company are Eric Moynihan, Tiffany Needham, Jason Lindley, and also Shabat. I wasn't able to find Shabat's surname unfortunately, but I believe he's now a silent partner in the company. But the 3 main partners came to Korea as English teachers. Moynihan is originally from Canada, and the other 2 are from the US. But apparently Eric and Jason wanted to develop a sort of do-it-yourself lifestyle, and they've done various things such as cheese making, wine making, and lots of other stuff like that. But they also owned a restaurant in Seoul as well, which was called Scout, and it was supposed to be really quite nice. I'm not sure if that's still open. I'll need to look that up actually. But around 2006 to 2007, Jason got really into homebrewing, and then the 3 guys got really deep into this hobby and continually tried different styles and stuff like this. But they apparently also had a TV show which was called Semi-Permanent that looked into the lives of fellow expats in South Korea, and this aired on the Arirang network, one of the big TV networks in South Korea. And the Arirang network actually own the building in which the brewery is now located and give them reduced rent and things like that. In 2012 though, they opened up their brewing space in the Gyeongredan district in Seoul with a paleo, and the paleo style is what this brewery is mainly known for in fact, but they soon followed it up with their porter because they wanted to show people what a dark beer could be. But they've continually expanded ever since then. For a while they'd also been contract brewing their beers with The Table, Seven Brow and Cabru, just to keep up with the demand, because these guys are one of the more recognisable and in-demand craft breweries in South Korea in fact. But later though, they opened up their new brewery in an old tangerine warehouse on Jeju Island in the tiny village of Donghoncheong. But in addition to this, they also have their bar in the Itaewon district of Seoul, and they previously had one in Hongdae as well, but I believe this shut down in 2017. And they've also got their Bluebird bar in Tapdong in Jeju City as well, which I do hope that I can check out before I leave here, and if I do I will film a video in there for you as well. But they offer beer tastings, brewery tours and home brewing classes in their various different locations, although obviously the brewery tour is only available on Jeju. But they now have Mike Romeo as their head brewer. He previously worked for Fano Brewhus in Denmark, which isn't too far away from where I live in the south of Sweden. And he also worked for Left Hand Brewing in Colorado as well, who are one of the more recognisable breweries over there. But they like to do different things as well, like use some of the local Jeju ingredients in their beers. They were talking about using Jeju peppercorns and Jeju tangerines and stuff like that. So definitely a brewery to keep an eye on within this regard. There's a few breweries that are very good at adding these kind of adjuncts into their beers. So hopefully I can try a few of those more inventive beers over the next little while as well. But as of July 2019, they've produced just over 60 different varieties of beer according to Untappd. And the brewery name actually comes, it comes from the magpie bird obviously, but in South Korea this is regarded as a symbol of good luck, or as a sort of bringer of good news, if you like, in the old the old sort of, can you say, heritage stories and stuff like that. I'm not sure of the exact term to use there. But like I said, this is one of the more recognisable craft beer names throughout South Korea, and I was impressed with the IPA that I reviewed for you before, so I'm really hoping that this is another quite interesting beer. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Magpie Brewing Company for the moment. If you want to learn a little bit more, you can check out the brewery website in the description below. There's some really interesting articles from the Jeju Times, if I'm remembering the name of the newspaper correctly, and that's where I got a lot of the information on this brewery as well. So yeah, you can check those out and just fire the name into Google and you'll be able to find a good little bit of information there. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. So like I said to you at the start of the video, this one is a 6% Hopfenweisse, which is literally a Hefeweizen with a little bit more American hop fired into it. Still quite a low IBU beer. They're saying on the can this is 25 IBUs, but yeah, normally your Hefeweizen beers are pretty low in their IBU count, but it should be nice. I do like this style of artwork that they've got here. The cans are pretty attractive, and the other thing I do like about this is that it's a 500ml can. It's not one of these 440ml things that you're getting in Europe these days. I wish they would just stick to the good old European half-litre measurements, in fact. But yeah, a nice looking beer, this one. I really like the presentation of this. So without further ado, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting. I'm really curious, as I said, to see how this particular beer turns out. I'm using my good Jiangmen glass that I got when I was in Hong Kong, because this is a nice big half-litre glass, so it will take the full can. But yeah, look at that. It's a lovely pouring beer. I think I'm going to have just a little bit left in the can. Yeah, we'll be careful with the last little bit just now. But yeah, so as you can see with this beer, and as you would expect from any type of wheat beer, it's poured a really nice, bright, golden, hazy colour actually, this one. I really like the colour of these Hefeweizen beers. If I stick my fingers behind the glass, you can see this beer is pretty damn opaque in its colour. You can see the head was about 1.5 fingers of a frothy, I would say perfectly white head on this one, not creamy in the slightest. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass there, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But overall it does look pretty damn nice, I have to say, but nothing overly surprising about this one in terms of its appearance when you consider that it is basically a hopped up Hefeweizen beer. It looks absolutely lovely. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on with this one. Oh yeah, it smells very, very German, to be honest with you, in its thing. I mean, there's nothing really giving it away with this beer that it's a Hopfenweisse rather than a straight up Hefeweizen. To me, it smells very, very German. So straight away with this one, you're going to smell that nice, smooth, wheaty quality in there, that nice big white bready German wheaty quality coming out of this one. You can also smell a little bit of a kind of clovey spice to the beer as well. It definitely has a little bit of a spicy edge to it, this one, which is nice. Maybe, I don't think there's coriander or anything in here. I think it's mainly a straight up, quite smooth wheaty note in there, a little bit of a clovey spice, a little bit of banana and bubblegum, some of these sort of more candied esters that you can get out of the Hefeweizen yeasts. But yeah, it does smell really quite nice, I have to say. Yeah, to be honest with you, to be straight up, if it's a Hopfenweisse, a lot of the time the aromas have a bit more fruitiness to them. This one to me actually smells very straight up and German, to be honest, which is kind of interesting. So maybe, I'm trying to remember if the IBUs, I think most of the Hefeweizen beers that I've tried before have been like 15 IBUs or something like that. So maybe they have just put a little bit more German hop in it. I'll be curious to see how it comes out. But in the aroma, I mean, there's a little bit, as I say, you get the banana notes from, which will be from the yeasty esters rather than anything else. But on the fruity side of things, it does come across as being, you know, a good bit floral, quite grassy. It does have an element of a German noble hop caught in there. That'll be the Hallertau or the Tettnanger hops. They might have used something a little bit more kind of spicy, if you like Pearl or Hercules, you know, those types of German hops, which a lot of the craft breweries tend to do, just to give it a bit more IBU. So yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of a sort of apricot-y, maybe very slightly mango-y note to this one, but it's difficult to pick out whether there is any sort of American or Australian or maybe even New Zealand hops in this one. To me, this beer smells very, very straight up like a German Hefeweizen. There's nothing in the aroma that's particularly giving it away as being a Hopfenweizen. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, of course. But it's just a little bit of a surprise when they are selling it as a Hopfenweisse. So yeah, take a little bit of time and just enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in. But if I compare this to the other Hefeweizens that I've come across, this one to me actually leans a little bit towards the sweeter side of the spectrum. It does have that little element of spice in there, and it's got a nice little bit of a kind of floral aromaticity to it. There's a little bit of spiciness in there as well, so I do suspect a little bit that there could be Pearl or Hercules in here rather than Hallertau or Tettnanger. You know, the other hop you could use in here would be Czech Sats or you know, Styrian Goldings from Slovenia, but I think they're more likely to be using German hops in this one, particularly when it's an Asian brewery. You know, they do like their authenticity with these things. So yeah, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma. This one, as I say, on the fruity side of things, bananas, a little bit of apricot, maybe just even a little touch of mango or something like that coming out of this beer. But yeah, let's have a taste of this then and see how we get on. So this one is the Summer Summit Hopfenweisse from Magpie Brewing Company here on Jeju in South Korea. Let's get stuck in. Slanja, Skål, Gombe. Yeah, that's pretty nice actually. I mean, it has all the flavour you'd want of a Hefeweizen, or a Hopfenweizen, however you want to term this beer. But it does have that element of drinkability about it, which is really nice. And I mean, when you're in a hot climate, like, I mean, most of the Far East is pretty hot, pretty humid. And I've said this in pretty much all the countries over here that I've reviewed beers from. I think, you know, I've had beers from Thailand, I've had some of the Hong Kong craft beers, a lot of Japanese stuff as well, and now the South Korean things. You know, they do want their beers to have that element of drinkability, and you do get that from this beer. Yeah, I really like how this one goes together. So again, this one gets a thumbs up from me. I can see from the flavour, I mean, I was saying in the aroma it wasn't too obvious why this one was a Hopfenweisse rather than you know, just a straight up Hefeweizen. And it's interesting as well that they use the term Hopfenweisse rather than Hopfenweizen. I think most of the German breweries, if they do something like this, they would call it a Hopfenweizen. But you know, it's the same thing basically, to be honest. It's just a different use of the word. But yeah, I do like how everything in this one's going together. This isn't a beer that's going to blow the head off you in terms of its sweetness, its bitterness or fruitiness or anything like that. It's just all about how these different kind of flavours go together. So straight away, you're going to feel that nice kind of smooth, white bready, wheaty quality. That just blankets the middle of your tongue. On top of that, you start to get a little bit of a kind of clovey, banana-y sort of flavour. There is a little bit of that thicker, doughy, yeasty kind of thing coming out of this one, which is nice. And as the middle of your palate dries out, that's when you start to get some of these kind of clovey, spicy notes coming out of the beer, which is really interesting. So for me, in terms of that malt base, it does actually start to sweeten up again, actually, as you go further into the flavour as well. So it dries out and becomes a little bit more spicy, but then a little bit further forward on the palate, it starts to sweeten up. So it's got a really interesting way of just balancing itself out, this one. Yeah. I do like, as I've said a couple of times, I do quite like this. It is nice, just, and it's very well balanced actually. The sort of spicy notes in the middle of the palate are sort of dancing around and balancing the beer out a little bit with the floral aromaticity around the side of the tongue too, which is really cool. So if you go to the back corners of your palate, you're going to get a little touch of earthiness out of this one. And as you come further forward down the sides of the palate, there's a little bit of a nice, it actually gets quite spicy towards the front kind of corners of the palate there, which is interesting. I do suspect maybe there's a little bit of Hercules or something here. I mean, the other things that we could use from America might be, you know, like Tomahawk or something like that. Yeah, it could be like Tomahawk. I don't think it's Columbus. It's not quite spicy enough to be Columbus or something like that. I think it could, if it's an American hop, I suspect it might be like Tomahawk or something like that. And if it's a German hop that's in here, it's either Hercules or Pearl, I think, that's in here. I think it's more likely to be Hercules though, just going by the flavour. But round the very front curve of the palate, it's just that little bit lighter and grassy, and then behind the front curve of the tongue, you've got that nice little oily bubble where those juicy, fruity esters start to push their way out of the beer. But yeah, it does have a nice little bit of fruitiness in it, to be fair. So on that fruity side of things, you've got those typical kind of grassy, almost lemony fruity notes kind of coming out of this one, and they're sitting right on the very front tip of the tongue almost. If you just go behind that a little bit, you do get a little touch of there's a little touch of a mango-y note in there. There's maybe a little touch of passion fruit or something to that as well. Could there be a little hint of galaxy or something? Because in fairness, there's a bit of pineapple in there as well. If it's passion fruit that's at play, usually it's Simcoe, or it can be Galaxy. And the thing that's making me wonder if there's a little bit of Galaxy in here is the fact that I can pick up one or two little pineapple-y flavours as well. So for me, there's a little bit of a mango-y, passion fruity, apricot-y kind of thing. There is a good little bit of complexity to the fruity side of this beer as well. But the mainstay of the fruits for me are the more kind of grassy, slightly lemony esters that come out of this one. So yeah, this is one of these beers where it's really well balanced actually. Like I said, the sort of clovey, spicy notes in the middle of your palate, as the centre of your tongue dries out, they build a really good balance with the more spicy notes from the hops, and the fruitiness, the sort of lemon side of the fruitiness and the grassy esters, they build a really good bridge together as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this one. So for a beer that's only 6% and 25 IBUs, it does have a good little bit of complexity to it, and it's still at the same time quite nice and sessionable. So I mean, it gets a thumbs up from me. I wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. But as I always said, I used to absolutely love Hefeweizen beers, but when I went to Germany, when I actually lived in Germany, I went off them a little bit because I discovered the Helles beer. But this one is really nice, and it does have a little bit of that sessionability that you would want from the style. I always find wheat beers a little bit heavy, and I mean, probably I could only drink one of these at a time, but the beer generally does have a little bit of sessionability about it, so that's good. On that note, we'll move on to the mouthfeel of the beer. So for me, this one I would say is fairly mid-bodied. Carbonation is carbonation is quite smooth on this one. The beer does lean towards the smoother side of things. It's not really oily or anything like that. This one, there is a little bit of bitterness to it. Like it said on the can, it's 25 IBUs, so you're talking about the same kind of bitterness as a New England IPA along that kind of region, so it's not going to blow the head off you. But I do find this one to be a little bit more spicy, and it's probably just the hop varieties that they've used in here. Like I suspect there's maybe a little bit of Hercules in this one, or Tomahawk, if it's an American hop that's been used in here, and there could be a little bit of something else in there just to give it some more flavour and aroma and stuff like that. But in terms of the malt base of the beer, brain was going there. You've got a nice little bit of smoothness to this one. There's not too much in the way of sweetness, it's a little bit spicy as well, and you've also got some of these nice juicy fruity esters in there that are kind of, they do have a little bit of pungency as well, which is kind of good. So this beer, it is one of the, I can see exactly from the flavour why they call it a Hopfenweisse, because it does have a little bit more of bite to it, if you like, than a straight up Hefeweizen, but it's really nicely done, and I wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. For me though, I'd probably only drink one of these at a time. I wouldn't session them, just because of, you know, I've always found wheat beers, I personally find them a little bit heavy, so I just like one of these at a time. But you know, if you're really into this style, you could easily session a couple of these. But it's another very, very good beer from Magpie Brewing Company. Like I said, one of the better known craft beer names here in South Korea, and when they're producing stuff like this, you know, you can start to see why that is. So yeah, big thumbs up to the guys at Magpie Brewing Company once again. Cool to try their summer seasonal while I'm here in Jeju as well. So yeah, it's been awesome to review this one for you, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed my take on this beer. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from the Magpie Brewing Company as well, and you will see me review a sour beer from these guys in the next couple of videos. Thank you again to Josie for pointing me in the direction of this beer. Make sure you check out her Facebook page in the description below as well, and I'll catch you guys very soon. The Summer Summit Hopfenweisse at 6% ABV from Magpie Brewing Company here on Jeju in South Korea. Until the next time, Slanja just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Slanja, Skål, Gombe.